Hey everybody, I'm Agni. I'm a warlord in the game of Amtgard, playing in the Kingdom of Crystal Groves. Over the last couple months, CG has been hosting a series of workshops and classes focused on providing or teaching people how to run different aspects of events in our game. And I've been incorporated in this endeavor, trying to teach people how to run tournaments specifically. And so I decided to put together a series of videos here. Um, so this information is available to everybody online. Um, and so this will be a three-part series um, on how to run tournaments. This is the first video looking at tournament styles. The second video is on really how to run the tournament, so doing tournament setup, and then some of the things that you need to consider when running tournaments. And then the last video will be on looking at ways to make tournaments fun, unique, and trying to keep them fresh and alive. So, as I said, this is on tournament styles, and so let's get into it. So first off, in our tournament styles, we have the very classic round robin. This is really great for a small number of participants, anywhere between 4 to about 10 participants. This is really great for small park levels. And in the basics of round robin is everybody fights everyone, right? So person A fights person B. They do a match, say best 2 out of 3. The winner gets a point, and then everybody fights everybody else, and then the person with the most points wins. As I said, this is great for small tournament turnout or participant turnout, but when you get to bigger numbers of participants, it's not really scalable. So then we need to look at other ways or other tournament styles. So the next tournament style that we have is the Bearpit or the Ironman, as we sometimes call it. For the purpose of this video, I'll just refer to everything as Bearpit from now on. Bearpits are traditionally considered the endurance test within the tournament culture, and the reason being is that in Bearpits, you do these for an extended amount of time, anywhere between about 15 minutes to up to 2 hours for a given category. And so Bearpits are very, very versatile. And one of the things that I really love about Bearpits in the versatility is that they can cover anywhere between 5 participants in a tournament all the way up to hundreds. And the way that you do this is that you simply change the number of rings to scale with the number of fighters. And so when you run these tournaments, the Bearpit tournaments, you have a given ring and you have 2 fighters within the ring, right? Fighter A with fighter B is fighting here in the center ring. Fighter A loses, so then fighter A leaves, B stays, and A goes to the back of one of these lines of their choice in this given format, right? And so if you have 150 fighters, you do like 15 rings, about 10 fighters per ring is a decent ratio. Additionally, in Bearpits, you can change the way or the stay condition within a ring, right? So most traditionally, fighters, the winner of a ring, of a match within a Bearpit, will gain all of their limbs back if they sustain. And then, so they're fresh for that next fight. Other tournaments that I've been in with Bearpits, you actually retain your wounds into the next fight. And that's significantly harder. There's pros and cons into running those tournaments, and, it tests different things. But it's a way to change up the flavor. Another way to change up Bearpits is the way that you organize the lines. So in this particular style, you're giving the fighters the ability to choose which ring they go into. And so, for example, if in this far left ring right here, you have a warlord, just holding down this pit. And they're not really able to get kicked out. Fewer people are likely to go into this pit because it's harder for them to win, right? So then people may try to go to these other two pits so they have a chance or a better chance of holding down or taking over and holding down their own pit. Something that you can do to change this style up is you can do a single line, right? And so when you do the single line, you can't intentionally avoid a pit anymore. And so this kind of forces everybody to fight everybody. And sometimes when you have multiple warlords or multiple top tier fighters within a tournament and you do this single line method, it's much easier to break streaks that way because you have a higher chance of the top dogs within a tournament fighting each other. Again, pros and cons to doing it both ways. They test different things, but these are just different ways that you can utilize or look at running bear pits. The next style of tournaments is the brackets. Pure brackets all by themselves are kind of limited in the range that they can handle. It first off typically has to be within a factor of or 2 to the n power, right? So you need like 4, 8, 16, 36 people to have even brackets. If you don't have that number, you have to do like wild cards and buys, which is sometimes confusing or hard to handle, right? But in basic principle, each one of these brackets, you have person A, person B, they fight each other, the winner moves on, so on and so forth. Within the tournament culture, this is typically considered the test of technical skill. And the reason why we say this is because within a given match, you have a very small number of iterations that the fighters can do to figure out who is better, like who is going to be the winner. Whereas when you're looking at bear pits, you have almost an infinite number of iterations that you can do, or the fighters can have to get wins. Whereas brackets, it's typically a best 2 out of 3. So within brackets, you're having to typically deal with, or you're testing a more technical side of the fighting. But due to the size constraints on bear pits, right, and a lot of tournaments have much bigger turnouts than, say 36 people, you typically have to add or couple brackets with another format to really begin to utilize the bracket method. And so traditionally what happens now is we do the pools into brackets format. This is previously called the Warlord Sports method, where it's really a 2-part tournament. You do pools, which is like your endurance test, and then you do brackets, which is your, technical skill test, right? And so within pools, you can use a series of different formats. You can do traditional bear pits, right? And you set the time limit to say 15 minutes, and then that determines your seating, and then you go into the bracket section. Additionally, for pools, there's Swiss cheese method, where in the Swiss cheese, you have your total population of fighters, and you break them up into a series of groups. This is typically done based off of how many brackets you want to have. If it's, say, a 36-person bracket, then you do 18 pools, right? And so you just try to split the number of fighters up evenly, and then the best fighters from each bracket, will pull into or will seed into that category. These are just 2 of the different ways that you can do pools. This isn't the only ways that you can do it. It's mostly the 2 most common ways. But if you're creative or you've heard other ways of doing it, they're also probably a great way of trying it out. And I'd be very excited to see other ways to do this as well. But since I talked about seating conditions, it's something I wanted to touch on briefly. And there's a couple of different ways that you can do seating into the brackets. So I'm just gonna talk about Bearpits really quick, since this is kind of the most common way of doing pools. So within Bearpits, the typical seating condition that we do is the total number of kills, or the person with the total number of kills at the end of each bear pit will be seated in that order, right? So whoever has, say, the top number of kills is like 57, they will get the first seed, and then, say the next top fighter has 55, then they get the second seed, and so on and so forth. And so that's way you get, hopefully, your top fighter in the pools fighting each other at the end of the bracket. Additionally, other ways that you can do it, and this is the way that was ran at Keep on the Borderlands 2023, is you have people trying to get to a kill limit. And so for Keep 2023 at the Michael Hammer of God Cup, fighters had to get 15 kills within the pool time limit. And so the first, I believe, 36 fighters would then bracket. And so they would bracket, or they would seed by their order. It's the first time that I've ever seen this, but I think this is a really interesting way of doing a seeding. And I would say this is pretty innovative. Additionally, you can do more of like the Swiss cheese method, and you have the top N people from each pit going, being that seeding condition. But so that's for the pools into brackets. Again, this is like the most traditional way now within Amtgard in running tournaments. But let's move on to less traditional styles. And so the most common non-standard format is the Grand Melee. This is kind of like your free-for-all, as you could say, method, where all of your fighters are on the field all at the same time. And you have reef counters on the side. And so whenever fighters fight each other, they go over to the reef counter, right? So these two people decide to engage in a fight. This is an honor duel style. So, once they agree upon a fight, nobody else can interact with them. They fight, say, a person with a very long sword wins, they go to the counters. And then they say person A beat person B. And then they go back into the fighting pool and initiate a new fight. One thing that you have to worry about, though, in this style of tournament is you have to worry about match targeting. And what I mean by this is people that are potentially sleazy or trying to like get an easy win, you could say, will purposefully target out easy targets, right? So say a warlord is trying to just get some real easy kills. They find a couple of newbie players, first time tournament goers. That's, this is the warlord guy person. And they just continually try to fight those people and just rack up kills real easily. In the Grand Melees that I've been in, this hasn't been a problem, but I've heard of this being a problem. Ways that you can get around it is having sort of a difference in the total number of kills that you can have with any one player. So, say there's 16 fighters within a given tournament or within your Grand Melee. You can't have more than 5 kills with any one person over your next highest number, if that makes sense. Um, so you can't, if say you have this fighter has, you know, 15 kills on a new person, and then their second person after that has they've killed them 5 times, right? The difference of, I said 15 and 5, that difference is 10, right? So 5 of those kills wouldn't count. It's since the fighters are telling A beat B, this is a way to do it. It just becomes a hassle. You also should probably ask your Reeves to watch out and just keep an eye out for consistently overmatched fights. But hopefully your people don't, or your tournament participants don't do this, as that's not cool. Moving on, there is the Grand Prix method, or tournament style. This is really not a single event or tournament. This is actually a culmination of tournaments. So it's really a multi-day tournament series. And this is really great to hold over a reign, or over a part of a reign, right? And so really what it is you have these different tournaments in different areas. One of the nice things about Grand Prix is it allows for more error, I guess, right? Because not everybody is there at their 100%, or really doing their best on a given tournament day. I've definitely gone into kingdom level tournaments and really just not feeling it. So if you have this sort of Grand Prix, you kind of allow for some error there, right? Or you can't make it to a given day because of real life stuff or whatever. You have, say, 3 other opportunities to go and fight. And so what you can do within a Grand Prix, right? You can adjust. It can be combined with any of these other tournament styles that I have here, or even other tournament styles that I'm not covering within this video. And so it allows you to test a variety of different things, and gives a lot of variability and flexibility within the tournament structure. And so the way that you win within these Grand Prix is each winner from a given tournament or given track within the overall circuit, using Mario Kart terminology here. For winning a given track, you get a set number of points, and then whoever has the most points over the series of the Grand Prix wins, right? So you get to do at the very end the Mario Kart ceremony of winners. So this is kind of the set, or the range of styles that I'll be covering within this video. So that's really all I have, folks. Hopefully everybody was able to find something useful within this video on tournament styles. I hope it inspires some of y'all, or makes y'all think of different ways to be creative and how to try different methods. I'm definitely going to try to run a Grand Prix in the next couple of reigns, and hopefully it goes out well. But if you have, any comments, any wisdom, put it in the comments below. And also keep an eye out for my next video on tournament setup and this is like really how you're going to run a tournament on the day of, the decisions that you need to make in the planning. So again, I'm Warlord Magni, out in the Kingdom of Crystal Groves, and I look forward to seeing you on the rest of this series. See you later.